those words, yeah.
Yeah, and we could be those words. I'm staring at your silhouette and I can see those curves. Imagination running wild from the things that occur. So why can't I be the man that fulfill your fantasy? On the beach we can catch shade under the canopy, down to earth, not too fancy, far from vanity. It ain't about sex with you. I'm trying to build past opinions, intellectual conversations. You called and told me you were waiting. Got me canceling plans, trying to get to you, anticipating my next move. To go with my instincts is always my best move. I love how you're grown and sexy. You keep it personal, you call, won't text me. Now I'm ready for the ride where the present would take us on some Ron's Tail shit. Yeah, she's one of the great ones.
This is dedicated to the grown and sexy. Call my phone, girl, please don't text me. I'd rather hear voice than to see those words. If we can be those words, yeah. This is dedicated to the grown and sexy. Call my phone, girl, please don't text me. I'd rather hear voice than to see those words. If we can be those words, yeah.
This is dedicated to the grown.
What you do, this is DJ Echo, also known as Eric Curtis. Coming
And
in.
I'm Alicia Curtis, Eric's wife.
The Queen. Let's make sure we get that out there. Anytime you ever hear me say Queen, Queen this, Queen that, whatever, Queen, that is this woman right here. That is my queen. I'm the king of my castle, and that's my king, my queen, and I claim that. And anybody who know when I say queen, they know who it is. We gonna keep that all real. But she's joined me. This is a new thing we doing on No Topic Left Untouched. Like I shared with you before, I'm gonna have things where you're gonna see the family, and this is the first above many we hope for, where you see me and my wife. We gonna come at it from our different perspective,
Right.
Our different topics. There's topics that a lot of married couples. By God's grace, this year, this month, we just hit 14 years.
14.
And I think in those 14 years, there's a lot we've learned, and a lot that we can share, and a lot to where we can help others. And so I want to use this particular platform for that on No Topic Left Untouched, because there is a lot of topics in black marriage that's not touched. Can I get an amen to that?
Amen.
So she give you just pretty much a background, as far as me and my wife, might as well start off right. We've been married 14 years, but I know my wife since literally probably the age of about maybe 10, 11. But we finally became a couple at 12, 13 years old, in that era, around summertime, somewhere up in there. And our relationship lasted till we were sophomores in high school.
I think that's about right, yeah.
After sophomore year, of course, we grew in different areas.
We broke up.
We grew in different areas. And eventually we came back together, literally by God's grace, in 1990, or excuse me, 2000. 2000, I want to say it was.
2001.
2001?
Mm-hmm.
It was
right before
2001.
You was yeah.
I was right before I was getting out to the United States Navy.
Right.
Both of us had been in prior relationships, and at this particular time, it was a pinnacle in both sides of our life. And God saw fit that we rejoined. And of course, we didn't get married in the beginning. I'm going to keep it real. We did things the right way, and we saw something different for our family. We saw things outside of ourselves, and we made changes. So 14 years ago, we made the decision, and we've been together, and it's not been easy. Just straight up, if you think marriage is easy, I'll keep it 100 with you. You a damn fool. Yeah, I said that. You a damn fool.
You're right.
Marriage is work.
Yeah, it is.
When we look at the scriptures and the Bible teaches us that about how much Christ loved the church. We look at Christ as the husband, and the church is the wife. And as a man looking at that now, it makes you understand of how important a relationship it is between a husband and a wife. Because just imagine this: what if Christ said, I'm done, the hell with it, we're through, I don't care about nothing you did, it's over. So I look at it that perspective, and the reality of it is, by God's grace, my wife has never left my side. It has not been like, and I can be transparent. It has not been like she did something to me, or nah. I've done some things, man, and God has kept us. But we've all experienced some things, you know. Right. But you know, that's kind of giving you my sum up of us. I'm sure she can ad lib to that if you want to, baby. But, you know, that's kind of like a concise format of our relationship. But we've been together in reality since we was kids.
Right.
Before puberty even set in. So she knows me, I know her. And we still learning.
Right.
That's the beautiful thing about it. We still learning. But she decided to, you know, finally come on and get on here and agree. And what we're talking about, she wants to, you know, kind of piggyback on some things that she wants to share about. What was it? Pride? Baby, you tell them what was it that you wanted to.
The thing we was talking about was the original reason why you brought up, why you started No Topic Left Untouched.
Okay.
Remember?
Yeah.
So, like, this is a completely sensitive subject for him, and the reason why he brought the reason why he's doing what he's doing is because it's such a sensitive subject.
The reality is Amaya.
Yeah, Amaya and the whole no snitching thing, right?
Amaya, as you will see, or as if you probably seen already if you haven't, it's in there. It was a little brief conversation that I was having about my daughter, and in the process of my daughter's murder is where what she's talking about the no snitching is coming from. I'm at a point in my life after seeing or witnessing or not witnessing physically, but burying a child into the dirt and having no case solved, knowing the individual knows who did it and is very close to her. I have a real problem with that, because the reality of it is that we've trained ourselves, we've trained our young men to be that way. Mm-hmm. And my wife doesn't understand, Alicia doesn't understand when I talk about the street concept and the mentality of it and what it is, you know.
Yeah, because, you know, like I was saying before, Eric and I have always had this talk. I don't know about street code. I wasn't raised in the streets, so I don't know about the whole, you know, if something go down, you don't snitch. I wasn't raised like that. And so for me, with the whole no snitching thing, it just is foreign to me. Like, if you were raised a certain way, then, you know, not according to the streets, not according to, you know, I wasn't raised like that. So if you weren't raised that way, if something go down, then you call the police, you do what you need to do. You know, you need to tell people what needs to happen to help this murder get solved or whatever. But so because I wasn't raised like that, and Eric kind of was, we were raised in two different ways. Not necessarily, you know, as far as foundation, we were still raised the same way. You know, he was raised in the church, I was raised in the church. But he grew up with a stepdad that was, you know,
banging.
Right. And so I grew up with a stepdad that was older, and he raised us. He was ex-military, and, you know, he raised us like a certain way. And it was It was straightforward. It wasn't according to the streets. It wasn't according to that. So when he talks about, no snitching, which we've had to deal with, even in this household, we've had to deal with, certain things happen and we can't say nothing because according to him, we can't snitch. And to me, that's not normal. It's not normal.
Yeah, she feels that way. And I've learned over time that the reality of it is it's not normal. And
right.
I think that's why it's like I don't know if you want to say a match lit up under my behind or
now, yeah.
But that's just the way we was raised, and it just showed me how our upbringings can be detrimental to our living. The code, the unwritten law of the streets is what controls, I believe, our community today. It controls it to where you have the majority will not tell the truth. You will sit there and say, I thank God is this, God is done all these different things. But you won't tell the truth. When specifically in the book it says, thou shalt not what? Lie. But yet because of an unwritten law that we live by, we have come to a point that we won't say anything. We won't. And I have a problem. And I'm explaining to Alicia how, like, that's just the nature of it. Gang banging. That's where I got it from. My family from Donna. My family from pretty much majority every set that's in Las Vegas.
Right.
I got a cousin that's a 60. I got a cousin that's from the A, from my neighborhood, ABM. I got a cousin that's from Donna. I got a cousin that's from Herbert Gerson. I can keep going and going. I got relatives in different bloods. But on the aspect of it, our family, I think blood is thicker water than with us. And for a lot of my family, we ain't even really blood. We just was raised that way. My wife would tell you. And we live today as if when I met them from my stepdad at 6-7 years old, today at 41, 42 years old, we just like we was when we was 6-7 years old. But the crazy thing about it is that family showed me that what is crazy. They showed me how, regardless of what hood you was from, family matters more. So when I look at it after getting into it with other people who I say that's not from my family, we was living stupid. My closest friend growing up, you know what I'm saying, is from Herbert Gerson. When we first met each other, it was gang banging. It was,
right.
Playing football. I popped him. I'm little, and his homie say something, and it turned into crab and hurt. All the disrespectful words back at that time, man. And we eventually, our kids is God. All that different stuff, but situations happen where we not as close as we used to be. But the most important thing is that we was from rival neighborhoods, and we was able to build a relationship. And looking at that, even now, it was all bull. So, talking with my wife, even though she went to a school that was heavy gang affiliated, I wanted to go to her high school. You know what I'm saying? The ranch was where that's the set. But mama wasn't having it, So I had to go to the dog. But even though she went there, her dad made sure her sister, I say them because her brother was affiliated. There was stuff I've shared, and I think I've said it to her before, but her brother was affiliated. He just had a bond where he would not, because he had so many friends, he didn't pick and choose. Right. But Wayne, my brother-in-law, was affiliated. You know what I'm saying? He wore khakis. He wore all the fabric, everything. He was affiliated, but he just never made that final. He didn't go into that direction, but they never understood that. But so when I speak on, I try to explain to her from her pretense that, man, think about the people you did know. Zach Hewitt, God rest his soul, and other people. It's a lot of people you knew from the ranch that died during that era.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you look at it from adult perspective, like it didn't make sense then. It still don't make sense now, but because of the way we are living, because of the lifestyle, we're trained and taught to hate. I said that on a previous episode about self-genocide, that people, you know, my family don't believe that, and it's other people as viewers who don't feel that there's no self-genocide among ourselves. Hey, that, you know, everybody has their right of opinion.
Right.
But a lot of the different things, and you know, you look at New York and all that stuff, and we're going, man, the stuff that we raised up in, the way we taught, unfortunately, we didn't, you know, even though I had a grandfather like her dad, my stepdad wasn't like that. My stepdad was selling dope. I watched physically my stepdad cook crack. I
think that's where the difference in our childhood goes split, because we were both raised in the church, right? And then you had a stepdad that was doing all that, and I had a stepdad who was 60-some years, you know, old. And so people would talk about us behind our stepdad, but not knowing the fact that he was teaching us certain things in that old age, as he was married to my mom. He was teaching us things that, like, I still take to heart now. And so, like, raising us, the way he raised us, the way mama raised us, or our mom raised us, is different from the way you were raised.
Well,
you know, even though we still had that same foundation of going to church and God and, you know, learning what that was, we still had that very same foundation, right? You were raised with a stepdad that was selling dope, blah, blah, blah. I was raised with a stepdad that was much older, that was ex-military, where his answer to everything was no, 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 no. We couldn't even go in the front yard. And so that's where it splits for us. That's where our childhood splits for us. And so you were raised with that, you know, you don't snitch, blah, blah, blah. And I'm raised with, you know, something happens, you either get your gun or you call the police, or, you know what I mean? Like, that's where it splits for us.
Well, I was raised that way too. It's just that, like,
how?
I was raised. How you think I've been shooting guns since you know me?
I mean, not necessarily about the guns, but just the no snitching thing. Like, I still don't understand that to this day. And
well,
we were, you know, that's where we were raised differently.
So let me say it this way. So when I say unwritten laws, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So when I go into unwritten laws, what I mean by unwritten laws is that those particular type of unwritten laws is the laws that our kids live by. You got kids today that live by these particular laws that never been one day in their life involved in any type of situation. How I know that is when Arian told me snitches get stitches.
That's just because what he heard from other kids.
Right. So this is snitches get stitches comes from what you don't know about. It comes from putting that work in, being in that type of environment. And if I do this work or whatever, you better not say nothing. And if you see me do something, you better not say something. Because if you say something, I'm going to put that work.
Right.
The same thing that comes down to where there's an issue what I have now. The snitches get stitches for whatever it's worth, whether the boy is scared or what. Amaya's case is not so. It is a problem when you got kids who have not grown up in that environment, living by codes that they don't know a damn thing about. You living by a street code, boy, you ain't been raised in those streets.
That's not every child.
My son was enough for me because he did not grow up in the environment. So the majority of them talk like this. They're worse. Nigel knew this back, at these younger
I don't know
ages.
about Nigel knowing that.
Oh, Nigel knew it. I'm telling you.
I'm just saying. I don't know about
Nigel knew
we
it.
can't
All
speak
of
on
them.
Nigel unless Nigel can speak for himself.
I can speak for Nigel. I bet you Nigel, if I got him on here, he'll tell you.
You can't speak.
They
for
all know that from that era. They were trained this and they wasn't even involved. It's just the environment. And it's a normal thing in our community. And it's BS.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree.
Kids going to church every single weekend, know the word, Bible study and all that. And they living behind snitches get snitches. You just sit here Sunday and told church how you learn this in the Sunday school lesson. But then Monday, snitch get stitches, nigga.
It just depends on, just like with Aryan, you were saying Aryan got that whole phrase from snitches get stitches, right? Mm-hmm. From somebody he probably learned at school or learned about at school. Mm-hmm. So then you had to backtrack, whatever. You had to backtrack and tell him the whole story behind that. Did you not?
Yeah.
Okay. So, like, we can't control what some other parent is doing, all we know is how we raised our children. And I know that for other children, that's a big issue for you. Like how other children are being raised about snitches get stitches and that whole thing and no snitching and all that. That's a big issue. And I know it is. But how do we deal with that? How do we deal with something as simple as that? Something as simple as that phrase. Even for somebody like our son who was raised in a quote unquote normal childhood.
And what phrase is that?
Snitches get stitches.
The reality of it is that we've already taught our children how to overcome snitches get stitches.
Right.
One is by the foundation is God, church, the word. The second thing is just teaching them the truth. If something happened, the kids is going to tell the truth. The kids have repercussions. So we've already taught them what they need to do and their concept and how it needs to be done. Period, point blank. We don't have to tell them anything else. And based upon that, that's it. Even though they know it, even though Ari and them grew up and Erica even knows about it.
Right.
They still understand the bottom line is that telling the truth is what matters. Period, point blank. So that's my answer to that question that you asked. But that's it. Anything you want to add? You want to touch, piggyback on what I'm saying? I mean, because that's the concept. That's the resolution. If parents, meaning fathers and mothers, you taking that perspective to make that child, you got to take that same mind frame to raise them and teach them. Especially if you was raised in some BS, you got to teach them right. And that's what we have to do. I don't care about no hood politics or any of that, and that's where you got to be at. Right. And I'm thankful that I don't have no woman that is in that mind frame, that's stuck in that trap, because that has helped me to expand my mind from that same concept. But I thank God for my black woman. But other than that, we appreciate you tuning in. This is just me and the Queen coming to you for our first episode together. Soon you're gonna see part 2. We hope you enjoy, but hopefully she understand that, Unfortunately, this is a situation in our community that has to be dealt with. Regardless if you don't understand it, it makes no sense to you, it's something that should be imperative to you, because we all are one. Peace.